Hello, Musto0063 back to continue on with the Mega Man 10 Let's Play Perfect Run series. Last time we slowed things down a little by getting our arses frozen, so this time let's crank up the speed and take on Nitro Man. Oh yes, the obligatory... Wait, that's not going to work this time, is it? This stage is action-packed, and it starts with these road enemies that drive along the floor. You can either jump over them, or shoot them. But be aware that if you don't take out the cannon on their heads, it'll detach and try to snipe you while flying away. We'll just bypass that Sniper Joe, why not? And careful here, you want to take this one out, there's nowhere to scroll off screen, but if you don't get the cannon, be prepared for a bit more pellet shot dodging than before. And here's this stage's main gimmick, roadways with these trucks. You get an audio cue, a blaring of the horn, so you know a truck's oncoming, but you don't have a lot of time to react. You need to jump over them to progress, but don't just go gung-ho. Sometimes there are walls in the way, so be strategic about when you walk along the floor and when you try to jump over them. This shielded enemy tries to rush toward us, so initially fire some shots with his shield send him backward, then aim for the flashing light on his head to take him out. And if you noticed before, the direction of the arrows on the ground give a bit of a tell as to when a truck's oncoming, and they also indicate which direction they were travelling, this time from the left. So you can ride this one through the screen, just be ready to avoid getting spiked at the end of the road, and any sneaky lingering Sniper Joe bullets. For this third truck section, the Mets are rather irritatingly positioned, there are spikes on some of the walls, and the trucks are bigger. Thus, this is much trickier to get through, and requires even more consideration as to when to proceed and when to wait. I guess I should point out that getting rammed by a truck isn't a one-hit KO or anything, the truck just explodes and you take some damage, but still best avoided. And I'm not quite sure what happened there. I'd like to say my jump button didn't work for some reason, but maybe I just panicked because I thought I was going to be too close to the spikes. Unfortunately, although the trucks are travelling in our desired direction this time, some of the platforms are going to get in our way unless we're standing on the front of the trucks. So I suggest riding the first one a little of the way, don't bother taking any higher routes, and when the second truck comes along, ride the front of it to whiz through. But again, be prepared to get off quickly at the end of the road. A few countdown bomb screens, but unless you're interested in the goodies, just drop down as fast as you can. Another shield enemy, same track as before to get by. And get ready to react. Again by either avoiding or destroying this roader as soon as you drop down into this screen. And the rest of this area has more roaders, so deal with them how you prefer. Typically I'd rather destroy them. And one final Sniper Joe. Use the uneven terrain to your advantage by hiding in the gaps in the floor to avoid its attacks, and return fire when you get a good opening. And there's the boss gate. A slightly shorter level this time, or at least it tends to feel that way. Now there's an entrance for you. As to be expected in a level all about speed, Nitro Man is fast. His first method attack is to behave like a motorcycle and try to ram into us. This can be tricky to avoid until you get the hang of it. Then after a certain amount of time, though it's not always the same, he'll scale the wall, launch two sword blades at us, and drop down based on where Mega Man is positioned. From there you can either transform into the cycle again, or launch more sword blades at us, and this is where things get very frantic. Sword blades always spin across the floor, up the wall, and descend to where Mega Man is positioned. And having so many on screen at the same time can make it difficult to keep track of them all, not least where the safe spots are going to be. And yeah, got impatient at the end there, but it already hit me, so my accidental blood run chance made it already gone. Beating Nitro Man, we get the wheel cutter. It stings along the floor and walls, but it takes a little time to actually start moving, so I think it's better used when you hold down the attack button and keep the wheel cutter out. This also gives us the ability, that those who watch my Magnum 2 Let's Play will know about, of scaling walls. So funnily enough, it turns out to be more useful as a platforming aid than an actual weapon. Okay, 2 hits this time, but the last one probably wouldn't happen if I'd only already got hit. So effectively just the one again. And I guess that likely means on a stage that went pretty well. Yes. And then some. Perfect run time. But don't expect me to be talking a whole bunch here. There are a surprisingly small number of failures for me to describe. That being said, I didn't exactly get off to a terrific start. At the very first attempt, I somehow managed to make a mess of my ladder positioning while trying to deal with the Sniper Joe at the end of the first screen. Didn't have too many high hopes after that, I'll freely admit. But it ended up being a fair while until the next problematic point, which was the third truck segment. So I'll talk about this stage's general gotcha moments in the difficulty analysis, and how once you know they're there, you'll mostly be fine thereafter. But this screen, as well as being a gotcha moment, is a little tricky to get through thanks to those flying mechs, which can be really, really in the way at times, and ended 2 of my runs. And just to round off the nice sense of symmetry in my level outtakes, the Sniper Joe in the final room also caught me off guard once. Terrific! Always lovely getting hit on the final enemy of the stage, isn't it? As for Nitro Man, amazingly enough, I had no problems at all with him. While there is a very learnable strategy to dealing with him, I genuinely think it's quite hard to pull off, so I wasn't expecting this to be the ride in the park it turned out to be. Certainly not going to complain though. So again, before the difficulty analysis, let's take a look at the harder version of the Nitro Man fight. Which is definitely harder, owing mainly to the fact that he's even faster. If you thought his motorcycle attack looked hard to avoid before, yeah, that takes a lot of getting used to. And don't be fooled by my initial success, I still have huge problems dodging that move. Then, on top of him being faster, all the Saw Blades are faster too, making him more tricky to avoid, and actually make me change up my dodging strategy quite a bit to try and deal with them. So while he may not gain a new move like the other 4 Bullet Masters we've seen thus far, that doesn't mean that he hasn't had a massive upgrade in difficulty. Well, that ended up being substantially easier than I was expecting. I mean, I took on this stage 5th, thinking there'd be 4 easier ones to complete. Yeah, false rating incoming. This stage only took me 10 minutes to complete, the same amount of time I spent on Pump Man. And while I did suffer one more outtake, a total of 4, none were on the Robot Master. Ultimately, Nitro Man stage is one of those that has a lot of gotcha moments. Things you'll likely get surprised on by encountering them for the first time, but once you know they're there, you can mostly easily deal with. Of course, the trucks are the most obvious example, who didn't get mown down the very first time they played this stage by the first truck that drove in from the right hand side of the screen, and who didn't get mown down and or spiked by the larger trucks that drove in from the right hand side. Almost everyone, I'm betting. There are also a few small enemies that try to do the same on the first and last screen of the level, but with good reflexes, these are still dodgeable even if you don't know they're coming. But given the level is largely built around these gotcha moments, it becomes much easier when you've replayed the stage however many countless times, and hence I don't generally find Nitro's level all that difficult. Personally, I'd say the only tricky part is the third truck section. Those flying Mets still make things awkward, even if you know the trucks are on their way, and that did indeed account for 2 of my 4 outtakes. The other 2, one extremely clumsy moment trying to deal with the Sniper Joe on the first screen, terrific, and one unnecessarily panicked moment on the very last screen with the motorbike type enemies and another Sniper Joe. Nitro Man, however, is nowhere near as easy as my successful perfect run would make him out to be. I guess that's ultimately true for a lot of Robot Masters across the entire classic series when you see a perfect run being pulled off, but other than Tomahawk from Mega Man 6, I'm struggling to recall another previous Run Master that I was expecting to have a hard time on that I actually beat on my first attempt. It's definitely his wheel cutter attack that causes all the problems. His motorcycle attack not only affords you a decent chance to damage him, but it's really easy to avoid, on normal mode at least. Just keep jumping over him until he eventually climbs the wall. But the wheel cutter attack can be incredibly hard to dodge, and in addition, the bloody things when they roll across the floor also block your shots. So you either have to make some really small jumps when attacking, which can easily put you off avoiding the wheels, or fully concentrate on avoiding the wheels at the expense of doing no damage to him. As far as I can tell, making it easier, note easier, not easy, to dodge the wheel cutters is all about manipulating Nitro Man when he jumps off the wall out of his motorcycle mode to be about a third of the way across the screen from the wall he was previously climbing. This just so happens to mean that you can position yourself in the ideal position to jump over the first 2 wheels, jump forward to dodge these same 2 when they drop off the wall, still be able to jump over the last 2 wheels, and then naturally when jumping over Nitro Man when he transforms to motorcycle mode again, be out of range of the last 2 wheels when they drop off the wall. Easier said than done, however, in keeping track of all that, and remembering to lure Nitro Man to that position about a third of the way across the screen from the wall. This is always a hectic and nerve-wracking fight for me. Yeah, this was pretty much a given. I was expecting a difficult time with this stage, and it didn't happen. Colour me happy. And all that means I give Nitro Man a 1 out of 10. The 14th and last Robot Master, yes, spoiler, none of the remaining 3 stages will score a 1 out of 10, to become a proud, or should that be embarrassed member of the 1 out of 10 club, joining Heat, Top, Magnet, Hyperstorm H, Toad, Gravity, Gyro, Knight, Tomahawk, Spring, Galaxy, Concrete, and Jewel. Yes, I know Pump got a 2 out of 10 and I had 1 fewer outtake on that stage, but ultimately 2 of those were on the Robot Master compared to none this time around, thus lowering the difficulty in my eyes. I certainly will concede though, as I mentioned before, that Nitro doesn't deserve his place in the 1 out of 10 club. His level certainly has a few awkward moments, and he himself is not an easy fight at all. But stats don't lie. No, really they don't. It's the misinterpretation of those stats and finally falsehoods, not the stats themselves, and 1 out of 10 is therefore all I can give Nitro. Well, after travelling through a fast-paced level, surely now I can catch my breath and take some time before tackling the next stage. No? You want more? Fine. Your wish is my command. Oh. Tune in again soon.